Thank you very, very much. It's indeed an honor to be here in Saudi Arabia and just witnessing what we just saw and the significant initiatives that are going on in this part of the world as it relates to tourism, but particularly hospitality, is life-shaking, quite frankly. And when you think about it, it is the petri dish for what sustainability can be within our industry globally. I'm going to talk a little bit about ESG and this whole notion of benchmarking within the industry, because if you can't measure it, how can you actually effectively make a change to our industry in a way that we need to be seen? The investor community is absolutely watching this industry, and I sit on a few boards with some leading financiers in the world, and they pat me on the head and they say, "Glenn, you have a lot of work to do in your industry because we actually don't think you're taking this seriously, and we're investing in other companies and other sectors, and we don't even know we're being passed over." Obviously, customer sentiment over the last few years has changed dramatically. Used to be a nice checkbox for people. They would check it and say, yes, I want to have a sustainable experience, but they really weren't willing to pay for it. That's changed. The business community, those business travelers, these events out here will not select hotels that don't indicate their sustainability position. And as such, again, you're passed over if you're not involved. The luxury travel market, again, the customer is expecting that property is at a high level and that they're willing to pay for it. And just recently, the leisure travel market is also now showcasing that expectation of the property and its sustainability efforts. Obviously, regulatory pressure is on top of this. And we're seeing it obviously in the EU, United States, but in a variety of countries in the world, including this one. The expectation of government and the policies and the expressions that are placed on this industry are significant. And finally, a competitive advantage. Obviously, if you do a sustainable thing to the property in terms of its energy consumption and the like, you're going to reduce your operating costs. But I'd say, more importantly, as we want to grow as an industry, how are we actually going to attract the employee of the future who are expecting to work for companies and industries that have a higher purpose? Sustainability is just that. And if you want to retain and attract labor, sustainability can be your ticket for that. But the big issue when it comes to ESG reporting and measurement is, as the age-old word that we've seen, and we've seen this industry, and we keep talking about it, and we can't seem to ever overcome it, is the fragmentation. So many frameworks, so many acronyms, so many different ways of measuring progress has inhibited our ability to tell our story. And our story is being diluted. And we're not able to cut through to actually say to those financiers, we are taking it seriously. We are taking steps to make that happen. But without a combination of data that actually collectively shows progress, we're left behind. This is how others perceive us, both rightly and wrongly. Hotels, in its very nature, use more energy per square meter than any other commercial activity that you would find in a building, whether it be healthcare, commercial, retail, and the like. Tourism accounts for 8% of the global GHG emissions. We use 8 times more water in many locations as a customer than you would find in a resident in that particular area. And in those places that are along the ocean or in the sea, we see significant impact to coral reefs in that area. And on the social side, we have 1.8 million modern slaves that work in this industry. That's 10% of all modern slaves in the world. Not a good statistic. And there is no corner of the world that isn't immune to this issue. There's only 10% of those in senior leadership roles that are female. We have significant staff shortages all over the world, and less than 2% of the world's best employers are on some of the most significant indices of best employers. But there is progress, and there is, when you have a collective approach, when you can take this issue in a concerted way, there is success. The hotel CHSB, which is the largest collection, about 30,000 hotels in that system, indicate that emissions have decreased 10% over the last 3 years. We've seen from the WTTC report, out of 29 countries, we've seen a significant reduction over a 10-year period of carbon emissions. Socially, we are still one of the largest employers of young people, and we are seeing that we are a significant hire of local people, more than any other sector. We at the Sustainable Hospitality Alliance have brought together over 100 organizations and members of the largest companies in the world, together with the largest organizations in the world, to tackle this issue collectively. If we can't measure it collectively, we will never measure the progress overall. Our vision is to establish a responsible and prosperous industry that gives back to the destination more than it takes. And within that, one of the cornerstones of the effort is to harmonize the metric. We drive collective action by convening the industry in a pre-competitive way. We are creating those global partnerships and breaking down the silos of change. We take practical action, and we're ultimately about building a movement and not a private club. Some of our members here, and we're proud to say this week we'll be announcing 10 new members to this list, which will bring us nearly 50% of the global industry in terms of the number of rooms within the Alliance. This is at the C-suite level, directly engaged in thinking about how we work together. And across the value chain, we're seeing a significant growth of those that want to be part of the conversation to solve this problem of ESG reporting. And you can see these are the organizations that have formalized the agreements to actually be part of the solution to address this issue. We've done a lot of work on what we believe is the fundamental tipping point in showcasing this industry stands out from the rest, and that is net positive hospitality. Fundamentally, as I mentioned, giving back more than we take, being a contributor, not an extractor. That will differentiate us, and as such, start to measure significant impact. Over the last year, all the companies have come together and have identified these ESG elements as the cornerstone of materiality. So this is the what. The question now is, how do we measure it, and how do we all agree that it's the same philosophy, the same methodology, the same language? The industry now has come together and has pooled resource, working with regulators, working with the industry, working with customers, working with the reporting frameworks to ultimately get universal agreement and touch the sweet spot that you see in the center. Those key areas that everybody will agree this is how we measure carbon, water, waste, social issues, and the like. And over the next year, the industry has finally come together to tackle this issue head on. Combined with that, the Alliance, together with industry, has the carbon measurement, water measurement, waste measurement tools, 10 years old. We need to future-proof those tools. And again, those industry tools are right now working towards GHG protocol, again, so that it is the highest respected approach to how we measure progress. We're also developing the benchmark system together with indicators that actually show progress, and things like destination water risk indexes that actually show where we have 300 destinations globally, where we're able to measure where they are on a water risk index, and industries then can make better informed decisions when building certain infrastructure in certain market areas. And finally, we continue to innovate when we talk about our pathway to net positive, to give people the tools and resource to get there, and a World Academy that will provide certification for front of house, back of house, general managers, all the way to boards of directors, so that we're all speaking again the same language in every corner of the world to tackle this issue. So with that in mind, it's all about collaboration, harmonization, and innovation. And if we don't take this seriously and we don't actually start to take ESG reporting as a collective, we'll always let others tell our story. And we don't want that to continue. So thank you very much.